The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Tampa Bay Breathe Free Sinus and Allergy Centers.
Welcome back to Bloom. Cold and flu season is here, and it's important to keep track of your symptoms, their severity and length, because there could be a bigger underlying problem. Joining us now to tell us more is ENT Dr. Mariah Pate. It is so good to see you, Dr. Pate.
Good to see you too.
So we are in the season, and the weather can really change how we feel.
Absolutely. So with the weather changes comes colder and drier air, and that can affect your nasal breathing. So the dry air is less humid, obviously, so it can cause irritation. It can cause cracking in the nose, crusting, bleeding. And your nose wants the air to be humid as it goes to your lungs. So it works on overtime to humidify the air. So the vessels in your nose, they constrict and they swell, and so that causes more mucus, more congestion. And so a lot of people with sinus and allergy problems, they'll find that in some climates or weather changes that their symptoms will absolutely be worse.
And we talked a little bit about how long it lasts and keeping track of the symptoms. Could they be linked to other underlying problems?
Right. So everyone gets a cold now and then. There's so many viruses that run around with all the holiday season and the events in the new year. People are going to get sick. So when you do have a cold, usually you expect it to last anywhere from 1 to 7 days. And so people who have a normal healthy immune system and have normal sinus function, they're going to be able to fight it themselves. But if you have symptoms that last 7 to 10 days, then you may wonder if there's more going on.
Like a sinus infection, right?
Exactly. So, colds have, runny nose, sneezing, congestion, facial pressure, fever, and those symptoms can also be allergies or sinus problems. So the length and the severity is really important when you're deciding whether or not should I go to the doctor or should I just treat it from home.
I know you and your team are the leaders here in Tampa Bay when it comes to treating people. So how do you provide relief?
Right, so if someone's having symptoms for that length of time or they're having multiple infections in 1 year, it's really the time to come see us at our office. And it's important because there's underlying issues that can make your symptoms worse. So we look with CAT scans and scopes to see what's going on. Because over time, if you have congestion, you have cold symptom or allergy symptoms and congestion, it can cause you to have thickening in the sinuses and it just doesn't drain the way it should. That leads to more infections.
And there's so many treatment options, so you don't have to suffer in silence.
Absolutely. So there are obviously over-the-counter remedies that a lot of people use. We use antibiotics, nasal sprays, nasal saline is really helpful. And a lot of times over time, if the congestion gets really bad, sometimes we have to do procedures to help with that. And luckily, most patients are candidates for a less invasive technique. It can actually be done in the office. It can lead to pretty quick relief, so people aren't having as many symptoms.
That is really a relief to know, because I think a lot of people just get scared, so they just try to mask the symptoms with medications when there is a treatment option available.
And that's so true. Most people think, oh my gosh, I'm having all this trouble, I'm scared, I'm going to have this big surgery, I'm going to have this long recovery, I'm going to have to take all this time off work. But in actuality, a lot of times, it can be an in-office procedure where they're back to work in a few days.
Doctor, it's always such a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much. All right. If you would like to schedule an appointment with the Tampa Bay Breathe Free team, pick up the phone right now. The number to call is 727-379-2201. Again, the number is 727-379-2210, or visit tampabaybreathefree.com. We will be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Tampa Bay Breathe Free Sinus and Allergy Centers.